K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity, we're good for you.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the record.
For the record. For the record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome to For the Record. Today is Monday, the 20th day of July 2020. I hope and I trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable weekend. Those of you who got rain, and most of us did, I think probably all districts, extremely thankful for it. I'm sure the plants are, trees as well. So will the mosquitoes. But hopefully we will be able to keep them under control as well. Certainly seeing in my area some improvements as far as the mosquito population is concerned, and want to give kudos and big shout out to MRCU for addressing the issue. We are hearing on a daily basis now more instances of violence being perpetrated against others in the Cayman Islands, stabbings, choppings. So unfortunately, we're getting back to some of our old habits since the lockdown has been relaxed somewhat. And that is unfortunate. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service certainly will have their hands full, and we have to do our part as well in that regard and report anything unusual, whatever we see, ensure that we report it as well. But we need to say to people out there, yes, that you're under a certain amount of stress still, some of you, maybe because of a loss of a job, loss of income, maybe having to relocate for whatever reason. But we say to you, please try to solve your disputes, the frustrations that you have. Find someone to talk to. There are helplines available. Find someone to talk to, a professional who can assist you, who can help you through your very challenging times as well. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands this morning, we again ask you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, operating any type of motorized vehicle on the road. Please be careful. In particular, you drivers on the roads of the Cayman Islands, please use common sense when you're driving. And I speak in particular about when you're crossing cyclists on the road. We not only have recreational cyclists on the roads of the Cayman Islands, but we have people who use their bicycles simply as a mode of transportation. You have to respect them on the road. When you're crossing a cyclist, cross the same way that you would cross either a parked vehicle or a moving vehicle, which means that you give yourself enough space, enough clearance so that you don't come that close to them. If a car is coming in the opposite direction, use your judgment. If it appears as if the vehicle coming in the opposite direction and your vehicle are going to end up at the same spot at the same time, then do your part. Reduce your speed so that after the vehicle that is coming in the opposite direction has crossed, then you can cross the cyclist by giving more space. For some reason, when vehicles are crossing cyclists on the road, they seem fearful about going over the white line to cross when there's no traffic coming in the opposite direction. So they come close to the cyclist. But if they're crossing another moving motorized vehicle, they cross over. So why, if you can do it for other vehicles, why can't you do it for cyclists? Simply, one of two ways I will explain that. Ignorance about driving or total disregard for cyclists on the road. And either one of those options are not acceptable. Neither of them is an acceptable option under the circumstances. So please, we know that for some reason, whatever reason it is, that some drivers are frustrated with cyclists. They simply believe that cyclists do not belong on the road with them. But you're wrong. And at the same time, I say to you cyclists out there, ensure that you observe the rules of the road as well. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, we want to wish you a happy birthday. Or if you celebrated one over the past few days as well. Or if you're celebrating a wedding anniversary or whatever, we want to wish you all the best. Those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you, and we hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these very challenging times. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman, and by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle, or if you're working in the outdoors. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines are always open, and once more, it is usually that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson who is waiting there to take your calls. It certainly is her this morning as well. So you can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. You can leave us a text message, send us a voice note, contents of which will be played during the course of the show. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Birthdays, 20th of July, happy birthday greetings. We're going to send some out to Ms. Velma Hewitt, Mr. Langley Powery, Miss Sasha Rankin, Mr. Justin Miller, Mr. Jeremiah Archer, And I guess, Miss Susan, when you get to the music, you that soca music for them, you played it already for them. So Miss Susan already played that for you guys this morning, soca. And Miss Susan also is wants to send out birthday greetings to Martino Connolly. His birthday is today as well, Miss Susan. Yep. So Martino Connolly, happy birthday. Going back to the other ones, Jeremy Archer, Justin Miller, Sasha Ranking, Langley Powery, Welma Hewitt. Happy birthday to all of you. This morning we have no guests in the studio. We had something arranged, but unfortunately that had to be canceled, and hopefully we will have the guest on at another date. So we're going to have an open line for you all morning, just like we did on Friday morning as well. So again, do not wait until the last 15 minutes or less on the show when we go do our last commercial to call in, because somebody's going to miss out. Someone will have less time to talk as well. I don't know if you noticed that. If you call in when I'm talking and I continue to talk, that means that nobody is on the line. If you call in then, I normally will be able to give you a longer period of time to talk. When we have 3 and 4 persons queued up on the phone lines, then I have to cut it short simply because we want to try to accommodate everyone. So meanwhile, what we will do is we will go over the press briefing that was held on Friday, and at the same time, let's see if we have any COVID-19 updates since Friday. So the 17th, today's the 20th, that would have been on Friday, would have been the 17th. And so let's go to the details on the press briefing. But Ms. Susan, what do you think? We have about 2 minutes before we go to commercial break. Rather than starting this, why don't we do the commercial break, and then I can read as much as possible on the press briefing, because there's so much for people to know. So several things have changed as of yesterday, and if you didn't listen to the press briefing, then we want to ensure that you know about all of those changes as well. So please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Alexander McKeith Crichton, 1822 to 1892. Alexander McKeith Crichton was born in Glasgow, Scotland. At the age of 19, he became chief mate, sailing on clipper ships from England to Australia. He was later transferred to the tea trade and promoted to captain. He came to Grand Cayman after being shipwrecked off the coast of Cuba. Mr. Crichton was a valuable immigrant who had a thorough knowledge of navigation, which he was pleased to impart to others. He trained and taught many Caymanian seamen and opened the first navigation school in the islands. Many men from his school became well-known captain here, and some immigrated to the United States and became captain there as well. Alexander Crichton was also a merchant and one of the first surveyors in the Cayman Islands. He married Anne Brett Coe, and together they had 6 children. They lived at the Crichton Square in Sparts.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Rotary Central supports our National Gallery, now open free to the public, providing access to healing, renewal, and reflection through the arts. An opportunity to visit, to traverse Cayman Memory Lane, heritage, faces, places, voices, fabric, glimpsing a wider dimension of who we are, where we have come from. Join us at the National Gallery. You will see the Island of Women exhibition featuring 26 local artists exploring invaluable contributions that Caymanian women have made to developing Caymanian society. See the remarkable Bendel Heights Acquisition Showcase. Bendel is our Picasso. View salt water in their veins, a new exhibition featuring 45 local artists as they explore Cayman's legendary relationship with the oceans of the world. The National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. 8 exhibitions currently on show between Cayman Brac, Grand Cayman, and virtual tours online. The National Gallery in full compliance with safe distance and health requirements. Book your visit in advance to avoid waiting for entry. Call 945-8111. Rotary Central and the National Gallery of the Cayman Islands. Supporting wellness, healing in reflection. Rotary opens opportunities.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether we're celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling, West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
You've spent a lot of time with your kitchen appliances lately. Did you realize just how old or out of date they really are? If you're thinking of upgrading or replacing your old kitchen appliances, there is only one place to go: Brand Source Home Gallery. They're having a 15% off sale on GE appliances this month. That's right, save 15% off on all GE appliances now through the end of July. You will love the savings and the look of your fresh new appliances from Brand Source Home Gallery in Industrial Park on Dorsey Drive. Call 623-5000 for more information.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio, so I'm going to share with you the COVID-19 update. And this was on Friday. So out of 274 test results on Friday, it was reported that they were negative. Pointed out that good protocol and preventative practices such as social distancing and mask wearing, they have ensured that there has been fewer persons reporting flu symptoms in the last few months compared to the same period in 2018 and 2019. There have been only 2 positives from 3,000 tests in July. The Cayman Islands has conducted an impressive 27,000 tests so far. And the government announced a phased reopening of the borders to allow tourism starting on the 1st of September 2020. The opening will be based on factual and scientific information, and the opening is aimed to be the safest possible for both locals and visitors alike. More softening restrictions came into effect yesterday, Sunday, the 19th of July 2020. During this level that we're in now, starting yesterday, level 2, minimal suppression time, and this will last until the 31st of August. So from the 19th of July until the 31st of August, we're at level 2. These softening of restrictions include inter-island travel, now permitted by air and boat without need for testing. So you can now travel to the sister islands, Cayman Brac, Little Cayman, and vice versa. They can travel here without the need for testing. And it's permitted by air or by boat as well. Gatherings, limits have been raised as well. They are raised to 50 from 25 persons. So you can now have gatherings of 50 persons as opposed to 25. Dancing and karaoke in restaurants and bars restart, and nightclubs can open. Of course, all of these will occur with social distancing restrictions as well. So it won't be a free-for-all. There will still be requirements. It was also pointed out that shisha water pipes, never heard of that before, but I'm sure that some have, or hookahs are prohibited. Scuba and snorkeling equipment rental remain off limits. And on one of my previous shows, we talked about the scuba and the comments that were made by some individuals on the island that they hadn't been consulted, and that basically the government and the premier didn't know anything about scuba diving and the scuba industry, but yet were placing restrictions on them. So we see here that scuba and snorkeling equipment rental remains off limit. Doesn't mean that you can't use them, but they have to be yours personally. You won't be able to go out there and rent one. Visits to residential care homes are possible with restrictions as well. Up to 50 persons are permitted on commercial craft that have a particular license. It's called a WIZ, W-I-Z license on boats. On boat visits to the Sandbar and Stingray City, Starfish Point and Rum Point remains off limit. So if you're a boat with a WIZ license, you're allowed to have up to 50 persons on a craft if it allows for that many. You can visit the Sandbar and Stingray City, Starfish Point and Rum Point remains off limits. Contact sports started yesterday as well, with players and spectators to be treated as two separate groups for numbers allowed. So when they're calculating the numbers will be calculated based on players in one category, spectators in another, in terms of the numbers, right? Goes on to say here that, again, they announced the phase reopening of the borders of the Cayman Islands from the 1st of September that will enable tourism to resume, but in ways that will be safest possible for both locals and air arrivals. Strict protocols are to be put in place to ensure that the conditions that have made the Cayman Islands one of the safest places in the world in the management of COVID-19 are not affected. The government leaders also enthusiastically lauded the continuing cooperation from the majority of the Cayman Islands people who have worked with government to curtail the spread of COVID-19. It was noted that further relaxation of restrictions will commence, and we spoke about that they started yesterday as well. Okay, so inter-island travel, we spoke about that before. But with that inter-island travel, persons traveling should have been on the island for over 2 weeks. So you would have had to been in the Cayman Islands for over 2 weeks in order to travel from island to island. That is one of the requirements there. We're going to go into what the Premier said as well. But Ms. Susan, you ready for the news? Yeah, we still have a minute, so very quickly, let's say here what the Premier said. He's happy to report that we've continued with our stated progress and are on track with our testing regime. I'm also very pleased that during these last 2 weeks, we only had 2 positive results reported, and both are asymptomatic. Thankfully, we are in a very good place, and I'm comfortable moving forward with the easing of more of the regulations. Further lowering of restrictions comes into effect on Sunday the 19th. That was yesterday, and will remain in effect until the 31st of July. And I gave you a summary of all of those things that would be taking place as well. He went on to speak about support of micro and small businesses, but I will share that with you when we return from the 8 o'clock news. So, folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time by Foster's is 7:59.
At Foster's Pharmacy, we've made it even easier for you to fill or refill your prescription by messaging our pharmacists on WhatsApp. Simply send us a photo of your prescription, we'll prepare it, and on arrival, you'll just need to have your original prescription for verification. You can even have a refill processed by sending us your prescription number. WhatsApp Foster's Airport Pharmacy at 926-7485 or Camana Bay at 926-7486. For more information, visit fosters.ky/pharmacy.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that with the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, we reviewed over 12,000 member applications and made over 8,000 applications and paid over CI 90 million to our members from June 12th onwards? We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Your voice, your choice for today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. The Cayman Islands government continues to provide assistance to small businesses. Premier the Honorable Alden McLaughlin.
Since the launch of the government's relief measures for businesses in April, 1,085 applications have been received under the Micro and Small Business Grant Program. $1,592,000 have so far been paid to applicants, with a further $386,000 approved for payment under the grant program.
Of the 1,085 applications, 84% have been processed, with 347 business owners so far receiving full payment of $3,000. Based on the number of approved applications, the total funds so far committed by government has been more than $3 million. Museums worldwide have struggled to adapt to the challenges created by the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, but some countries have been hit harder than others. The National Gallery, despite the COVID pandemic, has been one of the lucky ones. NGCI Director Natalie Urquhart says by working alongside other galleries in the Caribbean, she knew Cayman was not the only art center that felt the pinch. Ms. Urquhart says the current pandemic has been a very interesting challenge for the museum.
Our role, our job is to engage our audiences with sort of education and inspiration and to share the story of our Caymanian history. And when you have to close your doors to the audience, it presents a really big barrier. And we've had to be quite creative in terms of reaching out and adapting, and certainly learnt a lot about websites and social media. But it's opened up such a great opportunity because we have audience members in the sister islands that can't get to the National Gallery and the outer districts that have a challenge coming to the National Gallery on a regular basis. So I think the move to digital will allow us so much more opportunity to continue engaging our audiences in Cayman long after we open our doors.
And what has been the feedback from those taking advantage of the virtual tours?
Feedback's been great. You know, we're looking at the analytics on both the website and our social media platforms, and, you know, getting a lot of visitation to both of those sites. So we're committed to keeping that moving forward.
Nearly 13% of the museums around the world may never reopen. This is according to the United Nations Cultural Agency. About 90% of them globally have had to close their doors due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now with the check of international news, here's the BBC, which will take us out of the newscast. I'm Carsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Neil Nunes. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson says the country's extradition arrangements with Hong Kong will be changed to reflect concerns about the security law imposed by China. But Mr. Johnson stressed the UK must take a calibrated approach and he would not become automatically anti-China on every issue. European Union leaders will make yet another attempt to overcome major differences about a €750 billion coronavirus recovery fund as talks extend into a fourth day. The head of the European Council is expected to present a new compromise proposal on how much would be available as non-repayable grants, a key sticking point. Hundreds of Japanese former child athletes have documented systemic physical, sexual, and mental abuse at the hands of their coaches and other sports officials. The testimony is contained in a damning report by Human Rights Watch. The Indian government is under pressure to acknowledge community transmission of the coronavirus. After a record daily increase in the number of confirmed infections, the country registered more than 40,000 new cases in 24 hours. Cinemas in China are reopening today after being closed for 6 months to help stop the spread of coronavirus. The country's film administration said screens in low-risk areas could open their doors but must follow strict new rules. Cinemas in Beijing will remain closed for now. Officials in northern Afghanistan say at least 13 security personnel have been killed in clashes with the Taliban in Kunduz province, and officials said the assault had been beaten back. France's Air Accident Investigations Agency has confirmed that it started to examine the black boxes from the Ukraine International Airlines flight shot down in Iran in January. Their experts are working alongside investigators from Ukraine and other countries. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is proudly sponsored by the Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. For further information, please visit chamberpension.ky. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Did you know that with the COVID-19 Emergency Withdrawal Program, we reviewed over 12,000 member applications in May, approved over 8,000 applications, and paid over CI 90 million to our members from June 12th onwards? We are the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, and we're here for you. For further information regarding the Emergency Withdrawal Program, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman for the latest in news and information.
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
When a storm is approaching, be sure to not only stock up on drinking water, but also non-drinking water. This is water that can be used for cleaning and washing. You can store non-drinking water in clean bathtubs or other large sterile containers. Visit the Water Authority's website, www.waterauthority.ky, or follow us on social media for more hurricane preparedness tips.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Cistern water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use after a hurricane. Simply leave the water for 1 minute after it begins to boil, or to disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
The Weather Report is proudly sponsored by Super Stitch Sewing and Fabric Center, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
New stock has just arrived at Super Stitch. Now don't take my word for it, drop by and see for yourself. Fresh off the boat, we have loads of fabric, vinyl upholstery fabric, fabric for cushions, outdoor fabrics, and dress fabric. That's not all. Super Stitch has sewing accessories and craft items. Included in the new shipment, you will find sheets, comforters, throw pillows, bath mats, rugs, and curtains for every room in your home. Super Stitch, 39 Pasador Place, Smith Road. Still offering the best price in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
Top of the morning to you. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Synopsis indicate isolated showers and some thunder will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours as a mid to upper level trough interacts with a tropical wave that will move across the Cayman area today. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving west. Now, the forecast for today is calling for partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times, with a 40% chance of showers and some thunder. Showers will be locally heavy at times, and temperatures will be in the upper 80s. Your winds will be southeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Pretty much the same for tonight, partly cloudy skies becoming cloudy at times, with a 40% chance of showers and some thunder. And showers are also locally heavy at times for tonight. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s. Winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 8:43, low tide this afternoon at 3:18, and a high tide again tonight at 7 minutes past 10. The sun will set this evening at 4 minutes after 7 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:59. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Wednesday morning as the tropical wave moves over the western Caribbean.
Superstitch Sewing and Fabric Center was the proud sponsor of the Weather Report, your one-stop shop for all of your household items, craft items, jewelry, beads, and decorations, and much more. Call Superstitch at 949-2833 or email customer care at superstitch.com.ky.
Superstitch. We are known for our amazing fabrics, top quality tailoring, and dressmaking. But did you know that we also carry trimmings, glitter, sequins, acrylic paints for fabrics and craft, floral wire, glues, markers, foam balls, and assorted ribbons? Yes, we do. You have a do-it-yourself project? Just pop into Superstitch and see what we have in store for you. There is a craft item for your every need.
My favorite, the beads, glass ones, flat, and even those shell ones.
Superstitch, your one-stop household store at 39 Pasadora Place, Smith Road, still offering the best prices in town. Call 949-2833 or go to superstitch.com.ky.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Good morning once again. Let's take a look at your traffic. Coming from the eastern Shamrock Road and the Linford Pearson Highway, you can expect steady but flowing traffic in some sections steady. On Cool Road, steady traffic, and North Sound Road are looking too bad. Some sections moderate, other sections steady, as well as on the Esterly Tibbetts Highway. Looking towards Eastern Avenue, moderate flow of traffic, and light traffic on Old Roberts Drive. Light to moderate traffic flow from the West Bay four-way stop, and on the West Bay Road and from the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. Now, if you see any accidents or incidents on Cayman's roads, give us a call here at Radio Cayman 949-6990. Have a good morning and click it or ticket.
Our subs made your way with multiple ordering and delivery options. Subway is making it easy for you to enjoy your favorite sandwiches, pizzas, and salads by offering delivery until 10 p.m. from West Bay to Bordentown. $5 delivery fee, no minimum order. Call the Subway location nearest to you or simply WhatsApp your order to 929-4658. You can also order Subway from Let's Eat or the Bento app, or visit our Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, West Shore Center, Industrial Park, East End, Windham, and Countryside Shopping Village. Visit Subway Cayman's Facebook and Instagram page for current store hours. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Mommy, have you been taking your medication?
No, I think I forgot to pick it up.
Your doctor prescribed it for a reason, so you should be taking it regularly.
I know, TD. Thanks for the reminder.
If you are elderly or vulnerable and need your prescription delivered to your home, contact the Health Services Authority Pharmacy at 949-8600. Taking your medication when prescribed is important to your health, and your health matters to us. For more information about our pharmacy hours and locations, visit hsa.ky or call 949-8600.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio, so I'm sharing with you the details from Friday's press briefing in relation to the COVID-19 situation in the Cayman Islands. So the Premier spoke about the easing of restrictions, and then he went on to mention the fact that support for micro and small businesses is proceeding well, and pointed out that since the launch, 1,085 applications were received from such businesses, and so far 1.592 million. That's 1,592,000 had been paid to applicants, with a further 386,000 approved. That will bring it up to about 1.9 plus $1 million. He also mentioned or announced that the Cayman Islands Coast Guard is now hiring. They're looking for 10 persons, and Caymanians between the age of 18 and 35 years who are interested can get details and application forms at www.jobs.gov.ky. Now, I'm going to pause there for a second and say that Caymanians, are encouraged to apply. Now, we will probably find that there's some Caymanians who already have jobs, maybe not the jobs that they want or that they're comfortable in. Some may be working in other security-related fields and want to transfer from one to the other. But this gives an opportunity for unemployed Caymanians just coming into the workforce as well to apply. And if you do find situations whereby maybe someone moves from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service and decides that they're going to go into the Coast Guard, then what we have to ensure, if that Caymanian makes a lateral move, that when we go to replace that Caymanian who's made that move, that Caymanian is replaced by a Caymanian also. Otherwise, we end up going backwards if we have a Caymanian making a lateral transfer and then we take a non-Caymanian and put into that spot. All of these opportunities are out there, are geared towards benefiting Caymanians, and we want to ensure that happens as well. So 10 spots available in the Coast Guard. Premier also discussed upcoming changes to the COVID-19 regulations, and we'll go over some of those again. Let's see what His Excellency the Governor, Mr. Martin Roper, said. He spoke about the test results, COVID-19 test results, and how encouraging they were, including only including only 2 positives from over 3,000 tests. He pointed out that the strategy followed by the Premier and his government is an outstanding success. We can be thankful. We live in one of the safest places in the world just now. I believe our handling of this pandemic is already given confidence internationally to Cayman's reputation and good governance. In view of the situation in other places like Florida, the Cayman Islands should not let its guard down. That's important. We're going to stress more of that later on as well. Progress on the repatriation flights to Nicaragua is being made as well, he pointed out, and we'll have more on that. Then we go to the Deputy Premier, Honorable Moses Colonel, and he pointed out that a total of 8 repatriation flights on Cayman Airways have been scheduled between July and September. So 8 flights between July and September, 2-month period. These include 5 to Miami, 3 to Jamaica. Persons wishing to book travel on any of these repatriation flights are asked to visit the Travel Time website, and you do that by going to the webpage www.explore.gov.ky/travel time. You go on there and you complete the application form. So it's not just simply you showing up at the airport at the dates that these flights are going to be commencing, but you have to go through a process. So you have to fill out the application form. He pointed out that government is opening a second registration period for displaced Caymanian tourism employees to receive further tourism stipends. Details will be provided at a later date. And I know that some of you have concerns about that. We received one voicemail this morning that we chose not to play, but I will paraphrase basically what's on that. And that person is a permanent resident, married to a Caymanian, worked at one of our local hotels here up until the closure of that hotel. They submitted an application for the tourism stipend, they said. They received a response acknowledging receipt of their application, but so far have not been able to find out any more about that. No positive response in terms of their application being approved. So the Minister for Tourism and Deputy Premier says that government is opening a second registration period for displaced Caymanian tourism employees to receive further tourism stipends. Details will be provided at a later date. Then he spoke about a phased reopening of the Cayman Islands borders that will begin from the 1st of September, which I mentioned earlier, 2020. This phased reopening will be done in a cautious way throughout. This includes strict protocols, monitoring, and management of the visitors when they are on the islands so that the experience is safe for them as well as our residents, local residents here. I hate using the word locals, but that's what is used here. So those protocols that are in place in terms of monitoring to ensure that our visitors are protected as well as those persons who reside here in the Cayman Islands. He also pointed out that the decisions that are being made here in the Cayman Islands will have benefited from the input and expertise of all of the relevant authorities and entities. Safety and security will remain as the main drivers behind all decision making. And he's quoted as saying, "We prefer to err on the side of caution rather than take any shortcuts, and nothing will be implemented without the ultimate approval of the health authority and chief medical officer." The Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism pointed out that from the 1st of September, Owen Roberts International Airport, including general aviation, will begin a soft reopening for at least 4 weeks. So from the 1st of September at Owen Roberts International Airport, they will proceed on a soft reopening basis for at least 4 weeks to accommodate returning Caymanians and residents, as well as individuals with homes in the Cayman Islands. All inbound travelers to the Cayman Islands will be required to obtain pre-authorization prior to boarding their flights. So, all inbound travelers to the Cayman Islands will have to obtain prior approval, prior authorization before they're boarding, before they can board their flights. And I again say that all inbound, all travelers, that means Caymanians, visitors alike, all will have to have prior authorization. He pointed out that to become pre-authorized, travelers must provide a negative COVID-19 PRC test from an accredited facility taken within 72 hours of travel. So it's not going to be just simply opening the doors and walking in. So you will be required to provide a negative COVID-19 PCR test from an accredited facility taken within 72 hours of travel. Children under the age of 10 will be exempted from this requirement. The negative test results must be sent to a CI government portal for confirmation. Following arrival in Cayman, travelers will be subject to self-isolation for 5 days and also will be required to wear a health monitoring device for continuous passive medical screening as an additional layer of safety and to further minimize risks after arrival in the Cayman Islands. So after 5 days, then the person will undergo a second test, and if the test returns negative a second time, right? Because they would have had the first test results prior to coming to the Cayman Islands. That one must be negative. After being in the Cayman Islands for a period of 5 days of self-isolation, you will take another test. And if that test is negative a second time, the person then will no longer be in isolation. However, they will continue to wear the device so that health screening can continue. So while the person may be cleared to circulate, they will be required to wear that device. The Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism is quoted as saying, "I am hopeful that this advanced health screening solution will sufficiently enhance our reopening protocols and provide further confidence so that we can once again welcome visitors to our shores while still minimizing the risk of introducing new cases to the local community." He pointed out that protocols and plans are still being fine-tuned, and the ministry will be disseminating a press release about this coming week here, this week, that a press release will be taken to that. Then there were we do have some sidebars, as well, and again, I want to concentrate on anything from the Ministry of Tourism, because there were several questions that were asked in that regard as well. So we see, speaking about ensuring that all the protocols are in place to ensure that safety remains paramount, safety for those traveling as well as those persons resident in the Cayman Islands. I want to share with you something that one of my friends shared with me on the weekend, and that was an announcement that the Bahamas will be closing their airports and seaports to United States visitors due to COVID-19. I want to share that with you after we return from this commercial break, because as you know, in the Cayman Islands, the majority of our tourists come from North America, mainly the United States and Canada as well. And let's see what happened in the Bahamas. So folks, don't change that dial. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
Register for the University College of the Cayman Islands 4-week technical vocational courses. The introductory courses provide training in computer technology, customer service, QuickBooks, commercial cooking, electrical installations, plumbing and air conditioning applications, and many more. Classes start July 27th. Qualified Caymanians can apply for private scholarship. How can you register? Join UCCI's registration drive from July 22nd to the 24th and July 27th, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the UCCI campus. Bring your passport and health insurance card. For more information, contact the admissions team at admissions@ucci.edu.ky or call 623-8224.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. Open line, toll-free number 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. So, in this article, it reads, Bahamas closing airports, seaports to United States visitors due to COVID-19. Country reopened for tourism July 1st, only allowing visitors from Canada, UK, and the EU. Bahamas Prime Minister announced travel restrictions into the Bahamas during a national address, attributing the closures to a spike in coronavirus cases. International commercial flights and commercial vessels carrying passengers will not be permitted to enter the Bahamas unless they are from Canada, the United Kingdom, or the European Union beginning Wednesday, the 22nd of July. This Wednesday coming, said Prime Minister Hubert Minnis. Effective immediately, its national air carrier, Bahamas Air, will cease all outgoing flights to the United States. And he's pointed out as saying that our current situation requires decisive action. So they made the decision in relation to the United States based on their concerns in terms of what's happening in the United States and in particular Florida, which is right in their front door or back door, whichever one you want to call it. They're right there. We have a caller. Let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. How are you?
Good morning. I'm fine. And how are you?
I'm good. Thankful to be alive. Another beautiful day in the Caymans.
Yep, it is.
I haven't got the full of the briefing that we had on Friday. I just I know we need to open our borders, don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the restrictions that they're putting out there to bring these people in there, and some of these guys just come and spend 3 days, 5 days. In the summertime, we'll probably get some more because of their condos and so forth. Just staying a bit longer. But those are coming for 5 days and 3 days and 2 days. I don't know how they're planning on working that out. Are we bringing in people from the U.S., like how the Bahamas gone and banned them from coming to their island? Are we just bringing from other places, or we are bringing from the U.S. as well? So you don't have to answer that, which you probably don't even know. You can answer that later when I hang up. I don't want to lose my time.
Can you repeat that for me, caller? Sorry.
Yes, I was asking, where are you bringing our visitors from? Bahamas is banning the U.S. from coming in there, period, for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where are our visitors coming from that we're putting out this restriction that they have to be quarantined for 5 days, to have a wear a monitor? I don't say anything is wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But the limited time that they do come and spend with us, I can't see that working to a degree, or less to specify that those are coming to spend a month in the condos and timeshares, it could probably work in that capacity.
Yeah.
But when it comes to 3 and 5 and 2 days just coming down for the weekend to the Cayman Island, I don't know how that's going to work. And are we bringing people from the U.S.? Are we going to ban them temporarily, like how the Bahamas has banned them, and we going to Canada and various places to bring other people in here that may not have?
I think that's still really in the works now. What will be happening is that the flights will be operated by Cayman Airways. Right, so you're not going to have every carrier coming in here. They will be operated by Cayman Airways, and you have to go through a process. You have to have the test taken 72 hours prior to you making an application or prior to travel. After you get here, you have to self-isolate for 5 days. You will be wearing a monitor that will have some geographic restrictions, or tell whether or not you go outside of that geographic restriction. After the 5 days, you have to have another negative positive test before you're able to circulate. And then while you're circulating, you will still have another monitor, as well.
Well, OC,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you right now, if that is for America as well, too, that ain't going to work, because America got the most stupidest, when it comes to protecting other people.
Mm-hmm,
You see what's going on there right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I know the government doing their best to get us back on the road. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
That is going to be a tight situation, and this is when we're going to get our taste of the coronavirus in this Cayman Island.
That is possible. That is possible, caller. I believe if it isn't done right. I think remember now, the target audience that they're looking at in relation to that is not the persons who would normally come here to spend a week or so. People who would be coming for a longer period of time, like those who maybe have timeshares, those who have their own places, property here in the Cayman Islands, who would want to spend a longer period of time. Because if you're going on a vacation for, let's say, a week, you don't want to have to spend 5 days out of those 7 days in isolation. The other thing that we have is the benefit of what has occurred and what will occur in other jurisdictions as well. We have seen some of the measures that they have put in place from a practical standpoint being not workable, and they have had to change those. I think what you're trying to say and what you're getting at is that whatever it is that we're trying to achieve, that if it means exposing ourselves and reversing all of the gains that we have made as far as COVID-19 is concerned, it isn't worth it if we're going to give up all of those things. And the government is basically thinking the same way. But I will quickly announce that we're going to have the Minister for Tourism and Deputy Premier. He's going to come on the show. He's going to be on here in a matter of minutes, and he will talk more about this as well. This is not planned to a certain extent, not planned, but the Deputy Premier is going to be on here, which is a big plus for us this morning, because instead of me reading and trying to explain to you what is being done, he will be in here to do so. So we're going to ask you to stay tuned, and if you have any questions in relation to the Deputy Premier, please feel free to call in afterwards. He will be with us for a while.
Also, one more thing, and I'll let you go if you don't have any calls. I was watching on fish and wildlife program yesterday there in the U.S. You know, when God gave us this world, He gave us an ocean with conch, lobster, shrimps, and you name it, and it's there for us to eat. Okay? It was provided.
Mm-hmm.
And to see today that the world is controlling the ocean, that you're going to go in there and bring out 2 fish more than what you're supposed to get, and you're going to be charged for that fish. These guys went out apparently and did not get the amount they were supposed to get the day they were supposed to get, right? So they decided to go and get extra the next day. And they pulled them down for them. They're in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying all that to say this. The ocean is there for us to eat from. I'm not saying you must destroy it. We can go to the grocery store every day of the week, 365 days, and get a tuna fish, sardines, and any fish farm, or shrimp, or lobster, out of the water that came from elsewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But yet, a man that want to get a meal for his table, or to sell 2 fish to get $10 to go and buy a cooked meal already for his family, he got to be penalized for it.
And this occurred where? What country this occurred?
It was Fish and Wildlife program I was watching.
Okay.
I'm sure
because some countries, just like we do here, things are seasonal. You have seasons that some countries you also have to have a license. You have to get a license to be able to.
I saw all of that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They had a license with Jordan, had a license with them. What I'm saying is that that's what happened. That's why we got so many poor people in the world today, because the food is there for us to go to get to eat. And the white collar is coming in and ban it for a certain time of the year and only allow so many of the water for our family.
But caller, don't you think that, for instance, the marine conservation laws that we have in the Cayman Islands, that those have been successful to the extent that the reason that we can still have a lobster season, the reason that we can still have a conch season, the reason that we can still have a whelk season is simply because we have placed restrictions on it, and if there was a free-for-all, then we really wouldn't have that benefit.
Well, also, I'm going to tell you the truth. I am not for it, because our generation is gone, practically. They knew how to manage the waters. They didn't go and abuse anything. They knew when it was ready to go and get and bring home and cook for us. So this conservation law that they have here and everywhere else in the rest of the world, I think it's a little bit too steep. It is causing starvation in the world for people. And if our people go, somebody's burning smoke and I'm allergic to smoke, I can't even breathe. Oh my God. But anyhow, I'm against it. But they're going to make the laws and rules and regulations. I know, see from Georgetown, the East End, you could drive and see people with their fishing line through overboard, catching a fish to go home and cook. Can you see that anymore right now?
They can still do that, yeah.
But anyhow, thanks for your time.
All right, take care. Deputy Premier is in the studio, so listen in as well. We're going to take a commercial break. When I return, I've already introduced him, but I will introduce him again. So, folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
You've spent a lot of time with your kitchen appliances lately. Did you realize just how old or out of date they really are? If you're thinking of upgrading or replacing your old kitchen appliances, there is only one place to go: Brand Source Home Gallery. They're having a 15% off sale on GE appliances this month. That's right, save 15% off on all GE appliances now through the end of July. You will love the savings and the look of your fresh new appliances from Brand Source Home Gallery in Industrial Park on Dorsey Drive. Call 623-5000 for more information.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. It is my pleasure to have in the studio with me now none other than Deputy Premier and Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Moses Colonel. Good morning. Sir, welcome back to For the Record.
Morning. Thank you very much for having me here. I'd like to say a big shout out to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, and of course Grand Cayman, and thank everybody for listening this morning.
Sure. And you've been back on Grand Cayman since, well, we heard you on Friday. Before that, we would always hear you on the, what is Skype or whatever was being used, Zoom, right. At the time,
I've been back for 2 weeks now.
2 weeks?
So.
Wow, okay.
But we learned quite a bit in Cayman Brac, Minister Connor Connolly and myself, of how to use Zoom, and I have to tell you, it was really enjoyable being there. That's 3 months. It was just nice to be on Cayman Brac, and got to take a little trip to Little Cayman shortly. So, but we're back here now, and we're looking forward to a lot of good things. I can only this morning say a real big compliment to Premier and the Governor, of how things have been handled with our COVID-19 challenges. I think that when the story is told globally, which we are starting to message it now, the Cayman Islands are, as you know, in the top 5 as far as testing, but as far as best practice, I think they've set the mark. We like to use the tagline, "It's been worth the wait." And I really wanted to spend a little time this morning to make sure that the country itself understood that the wait may be a little bit longer, because we have put the tools in place, the safeguards that what the other small island nations and our partners in the region have had to do with moving up and down and opening and closing. We believe the way that we have put this messaging that we are going to open is a way that it will be controlled by us, and we have a very fluid situation that we can look and we can see which areas of the world are safe to come to Cayman and which are the ones that we don't allow to come here. Right. So those, I hope this morning I can go through and kind of show you the thought process behind these rules and regs that we put in place that I believe are going to be the foundation of really the way forward.
Well, the mic is yours, sir. You can continue to talk. I'll just signal when we're going to go to a commercial break, because I want you to get across as much as you possibly can, sir.
Oh, well, thank you very much. We realize that 30% of our economy is based on tourism, and we've got thousands of people last week and this week that we're we're helping with stipends. They're ambassadors for this country, the tourism industry. Although it might only be 30%, a huge part of our GDP, it's certainly a bigger percentage of the population of Caymanians in jobs in this country. And we realize that. So we set out, once we started to feel comfortable of how the COVID had been managed, we saw our testing extremely successful. We saw the numbers come down, and hopefully every day this week we will come back with 0 positive. We realized then that a couple things. Number one, we have to make sure that we safeguard the people of this island as a priority. And number two, if we have visitors, family and friends visiting, we make sure that they're safeguarded as well.
Yes.
So that was the foundation for what we were trying to accomplish. We also realized that tourism is $1 billion a year industry for this country. Last year, that was the rough numbers. And we wanted to take advantage of our core markets, our global markets, and make sure they knew that at the right time, Cayman was going to open. So that's why we systematically put in place a plan. And last year, we did 2.5 million visitors. What that says is that there's hundreds of thousands of people right now looking to come to the Cayman Islands. And if they're looking for the region, we have 3 or 4 competitors that are open. And we wanted to give our repeat guests and our new guests an opportunity to say, before I make that reservation, before I go visit, it is now looking like they're going to open later in the year. So before I book, let me hold off and see when they're going to be and when we'll be able to travel. So I believe that the whole team, great team, Department of Tourism, Ministry of Tourism, caucus, I believe that we're satisfied this morning that soft messaging will start resonating in the way that we release our PR for consumption, so to speak, in the world marketplace. So we're pleased with that. I heard you mention the Bahamas and what Prime Minister has just had to do yesterday. They're part of the region. We know them well. They are very good competitors, beautiful islands. And they are an example of what we believe we put in place that will allow us to not have to do that. So if you take a look at what was announced on Friday, I want to say how it started. So the following on of the success that the government has had was looked at and said, we need the best we have to give input in how we can open back our country. So we started off with a border opening committee, and that was appointed with membership. My ministry is obviously transport, so we chaired it. The Office of the Governor has responsibility for borders protection, security, and he was represented on the committee. The Cayman Aviation Authority, Mr. Smith and Ms. McCoy have been fabulous because they brought the international reach to us. They brought the ICOA, the International Civil Aviation expertise and guidance. So when we were talking here in our local committee, we were actually having representation from 2, the governor's office and the International Civil Aviation. So we weren't doing anything that was different. In fact, we were trying to find the best practice that they had with representation and knowledge globally that we could use. And then one of the most interesting presentations that we had, and hats off to Mr. Anderson and his team, was the Cayman Island Airport Authority. And I got to tell you, in their presentation, it was one of the presentations that the committee just took and started to understand what a new normal could really look like. And they gave us a presentation of, if you remember Saturdays and Sundays when people were backed up by the plane, that can no longer happen with social distancing. If a room has been designed for 1,000 people, you may get 400 or 500 in it. The different types of safeguards that have to be put in place from a health. Obviously, government is responsible for oversight of health and mandates a procedure and a policy. It showed us the plexiglass and the separations for border control and the protections, the PPEs that have to be used and put in place. It let us realize that we have a lot of work internationally to do with our partners, because how they used to come on a hub and spoke system to us, most planes wanting to arrive somewhere around 12 o'clock. That has to be de-peaked, as they call it, and we have to take advantage of how we move through the airport in a managed, controlled way, masks, hand sanitizer, temperature control, those types of things. But that presentation itself was tangible, because each one of us had been through the airport, and I think it really started us thinking about, we have a lot of work to do. We have to understand how we're going to do this, and we have to do it to protect our citizens, people of this country, and we have to do it to protect the economy of this country and the visitors. So that was extremely strong and well represented. Cayman Airways obviously is a strategic tool, and I think you can see their tremendous worth in the last couple of months, where we didn't have to go any place other than to our own national airline to repatriate people.
Yep. And if we didn't remember it from Ireland, we remember it now.
and calls from the region of saying, how are you getting planes? How are you doing this? And we were in a position that Cal has really stepped up and become a strategic tool, and obviously we have a lot more work for them to do, that's for sure. Yes. But again, hats off to them. Strong members of the committee gave representation. Examples of, we would never understand we'll understand. We wouldn't think right off that we had to negotiate how Cayman Airways could fly to Miami on a dispensation and have the crew stay on board and turn around and fly out. Because under our guidelines, if the crew got off, they'd have to be quarantined for 14 days. You imagine doing 3 or 4 flights a week. Crews start getting very, very small after that when you're quarantining. The Department of Tourism has done a lot of work. Obviously, Ms. Rosa Harris, a seat at the table, had a lot of input, again, from global tourism, World Tourism Organization, of what other small island nations and other countries are doing, and the de-peaking at the air, how they look at gateways, how they manage their message, that type of thing. Wesley Howell and Mr. Charles Clifford with the Premier's Ministry, Employment and Border Control, fantastic. The expertise they brought, realizing that everybody that is coming and everybody that is going to come is going to be vetted long before they get on a plane, as far as, do they have the qualifications to come to the Cayman Islands? Are they COVID-free? Have they taken their test? So again, very pleased to have them there, and the Health Services Authority. The minister has been extremely strong, and of course Dr. Lee is recognized. I think he's put not only a tremendous amount of time from the sciences and the health professional, but from the standpoint of doing the press conferences, the way he explains is very thorough, and I know the community has really looked forward to understanding the press conferences every day and the information coming out, and hopes. And Health Services, Ms. Lizette and the team over there, and hazard management with Danny Coleman. I mean, this was a very solid group, and then we had input from stakeholders as well, specifically in tourism industry, but properties made representation through the department. And I think we felt after a couple of meetings that we had struck a really good balance with understanding what the opportunities were and what the challenges were. So that's how we came up with the plan that we announced on Friday. And the first part of that plan is that...
If I can interrupt you there, Minister, rather than starting on the plan, since we've reached the top of the hour, 9 o'clock, we're going to do the headline news. This way we won't have to interrupt you for 15 minutes after we return. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly. You're hearing the voice of the Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism, the Honourable Moses Colonel. We're talking about plans to reopen the Cayman Islands to tourism and how it will be done in a safe manner. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
It's only 2 species that we have here on the island.
Generations present.
Your voice, your choice.
It is in the best interest of the people of these islands.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Eyewitnesses tell Radio Cayman that Mike's Esso in Georgetown was closed this morning after an alleged assault. No official word from the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as of news time, so make sure to keep it locked right here to Radio Cayman as we follow this developing story. In international news, data from early-stage human trials of the COVID-19 vaccine developed by Oxford University are set to be published. The results of Phase 1 testing would indicate whether it's safe and triggers an immune response. Australia has launched an investigation into security breaches in Victoria's hotel quarantine program. European leaders are meeting for a 4th day to try to agree to a huge virus rescue plan. Early research suggests a new treatment involving a protein called interferon beta could significantly reduce deaths. Globally, the number of confirmed infections has risen to more than 14.3 million and deaths to 605,000. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
your voice, your choice, your radio.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, none other than the Deputy Premier of the Cayman Islands, also Minister for Tourism, the Honourable Moses Colonel. We're talking about reopening the borders of the Cayman Islands, starting to revive our tourism product here in the Cayman Islands. So, Minister, back over to you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I wanted to just go through the recommendation from the committee that was approved by caucus, cabinet. We had a good discussion, and I want to make it very, very clear because of things like the Bahamas stopping commercial flights from the U.S., different countries of the region looking at hotspots, so to speak, and certainly the European countries looking at hotspots and stopping transfer of tourists and friends and family from those gateways. But in the way forward, the minimal risk that we are now on continues in place. And that continues with no changes. And the first time we look at something different then is a pathway at September 1st. And that was the announcement that the September 1st was a date that we were looking at. But we certainly put the caveat in that COVID-19 is a very fluid pandemic. And unfortunately for us, with our core market being North America, we see spikes that, how long will those spikes last? 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks? We can only monitor that. We have no control, but we are certainly in the position through public health, chief medical officer, Ministry of Health, to monitor that. And that was the position before I leave the committee, that the representation, again, from the medical side of representation on the committee was weighted extremely heavy. And nothing will be done to open our borders without the consent and the input and the acknowledgement from the Chief Medical Officer, the Ministry of Health, and Health Services.
Yes.
So we are guided by expertise. The way we looked at the September, and we didn't put a timing on how long this part of it would be in play. Mm-hmm. So, of course, we would hope that we could do an all clear in October. I don't know if that's true, but that will depend on the global pandemic of where it is and what. We're not going to take any risks that would be anything that would not have us continue with the success and the best practice that we've followed from day one.
Right.
That is a story that we want to tell globally of how, because of a strong economy and having some surplus, that we were able to do things that other countries were not able to do as far as closing borders.
Because you could do more damage by reopening early and then having to reverse everything, and that confidence that you've built up in terms of the customers and our valued guests would have been lost at that point in time.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. So we do not demand a COVID test before you come to the Cayman Islands now. But as of September, 72 hours before departure, a PCR test for everyone 10 years and older would have to be taken, step one. Step two is it had to be negative. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you go online, and I'll make it as simple as I can. You would go online, and this is not something that is new. We're following what has been successful in other Bermuda, Bahamas, Aruba. You go online and you fill out a form, a health form, and you have to provide from a well-established, recognized, certified lab the negative test, mm-hmm. right? And then your health, short bio and health, and then obviously where you're coming from, and you will also be asked to pay, and we don't know the exact amount at this time, mm-hmm. but that will be to cover the test when you get here, because you're going to have to test after you get to Cayman.
5 days after. Mm-hmm.
Right. And then you're also going to, we were looking for technology that would help us as well monitor where guests are and where we are, mm-hmm. Where people of the country are that are returning. And the bio button, which will have representation made this week in a press release of the partnership they're doing with Philips, which is a globally recognized health provider. Mm-hmm. But to give as much information to the country as we can as far as the thought, whether it had been this smart button or another smart button, which this one seems to be well received. Obviously, Dr. Lee had it on for a week. I think he still has it on. But the results from that have given great encouragement that this is a tool that we can use mm-hmm. to manage the pathway as people come back. So then you would get permission to arrive. You would arrive, and you would get your button, or you would get a monitor, for, I think, a word that everybody will understand, that you'll be able to be geofenced and monitored of where you are and your temperature, other vitals that need to be looked at by public health. And if some of those go in the wrong direction, you'll have a red alert that is monitored. So public health, in theory, the monitoring body would be able to go up and see where Mr. Connor is, and how do you feel, call you on the phone, go see you in person, should you come in, do some tests. But whether it be one of the citizens of the country or whether it be a visitor, it is a quick and a monitor that would allow public health to feel comfortable that they know and understand that the continued testing and the use of the monitor keeps us safe and keeps us understanding as quickly as possible where there may be an issue.
Okay. Now, quick question. As far as travel to the Cayman Islands, is it going to be restricted to our national carrier or other airlines would be allowed to come in as of that date?
We have reciprocal agreements, so there's going to be a point in time where we look at gateways.
Yes.
September is repatriation flights and monitoring who is allowed to come. Mm-hmm. And let us remember that September is really the start of the heavy hurricane season. We have a lot of homeowners that haven't been able to get here. We have a lot of condominium owners that haven't been able to get here because of the approach we had taken. Mm-hmm. So the people who have connections, general aviation and repatriation flights for September is going to be the rule of thumb right now, obviously being monitored, because before anyone is allowed to come, they're going to have to get the approval out of the site that they look at, fill out their form, and then get approved. We also have, again, demand in September that is showing up to try to repatriate again as we continue with not having the ability to open our hotels, our tourism product to the world. So there's a lot of repatriation requests. So on that, then we also have medical people that are abroad for personal business and medical issues that we have to repatriate as well. So safety in September will pretty much continue as it is now, from the standpoint of the doors aren't going to be wide open. They're going to be continually monitored of who's allowed to come the same way it's done now, and we'll open it to the point where we have a certain number of seats, we have a certain number of available quarantine facility, and we have the monitoring devices that it'll give us a period of time to put all these things in play and confidence that they're working and they are a pathway, again, forward to open more and more.
Okay. Another quick question. You mentioned the border opening committee, and I would imagine that here we have the ability with the condos and stuff, those persons who own condos but don't necessarily reside here, they would have information and numbers in terms of, who is looking forward or wanting to come to the Cayman Islands. So to a certain extent, some of the figures you will have some direction in terms of what some of the numbers are going to be based on some of the feedback that you get from them?
Absolutely correct. Yeah, this is a balance. What we're trying to do is strike the right balance. And when you look at it from a long-term perspective, we know that we have to understand how we're going to get back this part of our economy, but we have to balance it that we get it back in the right way for the people of the country. So that is a daily, and what is good for us is that we have the ability to receive a lot of different information from all over that we can take advantage of and see what is going to be the best for Cayman. So, we continue with the tagline, it is worth the wait.
Yep.
I can keep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So as we go through that, the second pathway, which was decided to be the safest for that September time frame, allows us to go down to a shorter isolation period, a shorter quarantine period, along with the monitor position, and then when you arrive, then you take a PCR test 5 days after you arrive. And we let us assume that's negative as well. So then you'll be released from isolation quarantine, and you will be required to wear a monitoring device. So that, again, is, as I've said before, is monitored by public health, and if the red alert comes on, then you're contacted, and it's understood whether is it a flu issue or is it something that they need to look farther in. And again, we understand that with the 4 hospitals that we have, because I always include Faith Hospital in Cayman, we're extremely fortunate with the type of health professionals that we have available to monitor and work with the issues. So that's the centerpiece. That is what we look for in September. Where we're going to land after that, after taking all the information, looking at it, it would be the next step, which is actually a quarantine-free pathway.
Yes.
And like I said, I have no ability this morning to say, is that going to be October 1st or is that going to be when? What I can say is in the same methodical, systematic way that we have looked through committee, through government, of ways to move forward, that is the same foundation that we will use to look at a pathway of managed risk for opening our borders. And again, I believe that what we have seen take place and the plan we have going forward will continue to give us a success story in fighting COVID-19.
Excellent. Good time for us to take a commercial break. And we probably open the phone lines around about 9:30. That'll give you another 15 minutes or so, Minister, for you to go on uninterrupted. We're going to take a commercial break now, folks. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
Recent worldwide events bring into focus the need for quality health care. Your life is meaningful. Your health is no laughing matter. Cayman Pharmacy Group strives to make your health their concern. Recognizing the complexities of pharmaceuticals and the need to personalize your care with one-on-one counseling. West Bay Pharmacy, Savannah Pharmacy, and CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Visit CaymanPharmacy.com for more information. Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Fidelity Bank would like to thank all essential workers. We salute your efforts and thank you for the sacrifices you've made to keep us all safe. During these challenging times we're facing, our top priority is the health and safety of the communities we serve. And while it's true that things are changing rapidly every day, one thing that will never change is our commitment to giving you the best and sound financial solutions to help you during and after the coronavirus pandemic. At Fidelity Bank, our focus will always be you. Fidelity, we're good for you.
The Toyota-thon 2020 event is going on now at Vamped Motors. Get our lowest prices of the year on a great selection of our most popular Toyotas with big savings on the new CHR Hybrid, the 7-seater Rush, the adventurous RAV4, the rugged Hilux truck, and more. You can drive home an amazing deal. Save up to $5,000. Take the full discount, get cash back, upgrade your vehicle with your savings. It's all your choice during our huge Toyota-thon sales event going on through July. Don't miss out. Come to Vamped Motors for your new Toyota. Let's go places.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism, the Honorable Moses Colonel. One of our listeners has written in and said, good morning, Minister, Deputy Premier. I commend the government and the Governor of the Cayman Islands on how they have really taken an interest in our lives and giving God the glory for protecting them and the frontline workers. But my biggest fear is the reopening so quickly. And I love hearing all of the protocols that are being put in place. Hopefully, we just have to trust God for his guidance. So they think that it's a quick opening, but you've covered that as well. Back to you, Minister.
Absolutely, and I thank them for that. The key word, obviously, is balance, is understanding where we are and making sure that we take all of the valuable knowledge that's available to us, evaluate that, look at how we can protect ourselves, and the balance is between providing opportunity and benefit for the country itself, bringing us back to where we were, in a matter, it's not going to be 6 months, it's not going to be a year, but it's going to, if we look at other issues, Hurricane Ivan, Hurricane Paloma, that we have had that has brought us to a halt, has made our economy basically stop. It didn't stop for long. It was rebuilt, and in the Caymanian spirit and entrepreneurial spirit, and spirit of hard work, it was rebuilt better, taking advantage. Now, if you look at where we are, we can gain from the knowledge from history and see how long that actually took. Did it take 12 months, 18 months? The types of initiatives we have to put in place. And again, I have to, compliment the Minister of Commerce, Mr. Hugh. I mean, he immediately put into place a program where he helped businesses with the $3,000 payout to try to help them get through the initial part. He worked with the small business group and pushed to make sure there was expertise available for people to look at their businesses to see how they could go forward. My team at Tourism, we immediately put in a stipend that would help people get through quickly. We tried to make it, the guideline was tourism industry, Caymanian, quick pay, and give you time to work with NRA, National Assessment Union, NAU. to get help. We're doing that again. Again, we know that $1,000 is not a livable stipend for 30 days, but what we hope is that if part of your business has been slowed, so your domestic economy business is back, but your tourism international business is not back, this helps you along with other things that are in the community to help. I'm not going to steal the Minister of Finance, Mr. McTaggart's thunder this morning, but he has a tremendous program that should come out about a government-guaranteed program that really I'm extremely excited and pleased when we're able to announce that, because I think the region itself is going to sit back and say, this is being done right, and this is what government is supposed to do to help small and medium-sized business in the tourism industry stay in business and give them the opportunity to take advantage of when the business returns. So I will finish with one thing, and that is the Minister of Education program to give every person, every child, a computer in this country, which she announced is a fantastic program and driven. And, of course, it couldn't come at a better time when each person needs this as quickly as possible. So I think that as we look at every part of our caucus, every councillor, every minister, Minister Seymour, press conference every day, Premier, you can see that it has been a work that everybody has put their shoulder to the wheel and really is moving forward in what I believe is the right direction. We clearly understand that this is not business as usual. We took it upon ourselves. We put an RFP out. We were very happy that Focus managing partner, Mr. Paul Biles, London School of Economics graduate, was the one that picked up the RFP and worked very closely with the Department of Tourism, Ms. Rosa and Chief Officer Strand Bodden, on putting what we call the RB5, which is the road back to 500,000 stayover visitors. This week we'll be meeting with the tourism's organizations and stakeholders and walking through it, because this has come from recommendations from the industry. This has come from opportunities that the industry sees. Yeah. And us understanding that cruise is not coming back right away. Massive amount of workers. Again, we have 2,000 Caymanians that are receiving stipends as we speak. Will continue. But there are more in that industry that pushed tourism as everybody's business. So we have to look at how we reskill, give opportunity to move into stayover, understand there are 70%, 65-70% work permit in that industry. How do we get it down less than that and make sure Caymanians have the opportunity to go into that stayover? We have met with most of the stakeholders. They're very supportive of some of the policies and ideas we have coming up to move them across and give opportunity. I have to tell you, I was in a meeting week before when I came back, and they talked about an exciting new product that was going to come through our boutique stayover, and it involved that whether it was a person by themselves or a family, you would have a concierge for your stay. And I thought to myself, there's nothing that a Caymanian would rather do than tell people about their country. I know that in the BRAC, when you get the opportunity to talk about the island itself and the people and hardships, good things that have happened, you're very proud to tell your history and proud to tell about the country itself. And I always laugh. If you visit a Caymanian, if they don't feed you, they're going to send you away with some prog that you can eat later. So I thought about all of the opportunities that are coming up. There are some really tremendous opportunities to look at how, not only through our hospitality school, which we have a program for that, but is this the time that we invite a Culinary Institute of America or Johnson & Wales or Cornell to build a bricks and mortar facility and become the regional host for hospitality? Those are the types of things and exciting opportunities going forward, along with understanding for the next 12, 24 months that we must protect our industry, and it is incumbent upon this government, and we are doing that. We are stepping up and working with stakeholders to say, you see what's happening with helping with health insurance, stipends, looking at when the importance of making sure that all the businesses that have put their life, sweat, equity into their business knows that we're working hard to be able to help them reestablish their business. And the comfort is that when you have a catastrophe, it takes a period of time to recover. So let us see. If you need 12 months to get help and put yourself in a position that when the business comes back, you can continue to be productive. Those are the types of things that we look at RB5 and know that we have a bigger picture to look at as far as creating opportunity and working with our Caymanian stakeholders in the industry.
Okay, and hopefully a lot of the businesses now will also realize that, again, another benefit of employing a Caymanian, that when we had people who were forced to leave because of the economic conditions, a Caymanian has no place to go. So that Caymanian will still be here, even if they're unemployed. When it's time for re-employment, they're here already. You have access to them as opposed to having to rely then on expatriate workers coming back into the island under a controlled situation where they may or may not. We have a caller who has called back a second time, so we're going to take that caller before we go to our commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. For the Record.
Good morning. Morning, Doc. How are you?
And good morning to the Honorable Mr. Orrett Connor, the Deputy Leader and the Minister for Tourism.
Morning, sir. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, sir? I hope you kept well and walk good.
I have, and I've been listening to you at different times on the radio, so it's always good to hear your voice.
Good to hear you too, sir. You know, we have a lot in common. I have great respect and time for you.
Thank you, sir, and the same is from me to you.
Yes, sir. First of all, I would like to congratulate your government and your cabinet for the decisions you made last February, which brought us to this position now. Even what I have said has been reported in the international press. The decision that the Cayman Islands government took back in February that puts us in this great position that we're in. That we're on top of the world now, as far as the other first world countries, you know, who say that they're more advanced than we are, and now they're suffering because they did not take the decisions that we took back then. I just want to congratulate you gentlemen for the leadership for the leadership that you took then. It was great, and it saved my life, and it saved the lives of many thousands of Caymanians. I really would like to say that publicly to you.
Thank you, sir.
The government. Now, I just want to make a comment. If I want to import a dog from the United States, the first thing I have to do is I have to have the dog to have rabies shot. The dog has to be quarantined in the States for 6 months after the rabies shots before I can bring it in, import it into the Cayman Islands. But the most important thing about that is that the government of the Cayman Islands prescribed a particular place in which the tests for the rabies shots have to be emanated from before they would allow me to bring it in. Now, I can't quote exactly what you said, but I will try to restate what you said, that the test for people who wants to come into the island, the COVID test, is from some recognized establishments. Now, I wonder if you want to go further than that and to say, and the government to say where the establishments have to be, to prescribe them, instead of just saying, because, you know, I have experience where some people who live in place where they have different states and different jurisdictions and different provinces can move from one province or one state and go to the other place and get a police record, and it's safe there, but they have a police record someplace else. I have experienced people who did the same thing with sexual transmitted disease. They have gone and got a test one place, because they had a health record in another place. I wonder if it wouldn't be safer for the government to prescribe from each jurisdiction where people are coming from, the particular place, the particular lab in which they have to be tested, than to just saying that from some recognized lab. Secondly, I would like you to address what would happen if a whole lot of people come in and then they're tested positive after they arrive in Cayman. Are we going to keep them, or are we going to repatriate them, or do we have the facilities to keep them and treat them here until when they're able to be repatriated back to their jurisdiction?
Okay.
Those are my comments, sir, and then I would like to make this quick. I would like to ask you, why is it that the government can make such a great decision over this particular issue, but drag their feet on other matters?
Somehow we knew that one was coming, Doc.
so thank you very much for the questions.
Thanks, Doc.
Let me prioritize the need this morning. So we're going to talk about the two questions you asked before. The other part will be a discussion for another time. The tests themselves, in the same way that has been handled previous to this, will have to have the input. That I took the time this morning to talk about the strength of the committee and the strength of the group that has been put together. So the recognized lab that has certification will have to be recognized by the Ministry of Health in the Cayman Islands, and the people who will monitor that again are when you make the application for permission to travel and you send in your negative confirmation of your test. That test will have to be a test that has been certified by the Chief Medical Officer, Ministry of Health, and the input in the same way that you've seen on daily press conferences of how they monitor, how they came together here with all the different hospitals working together to make sure it was a standardized result.
So you would know exactly where that test was actually done,
right,
and whether or not that particular facility is one that you recognize as being reputable.
Correct. It has a certification required. The second part was a really good question because I'd missed that. You're going to have to show that you have travel insurance for COVID. And if you come here and unfortunately you do test positive, the insurance will cover you to stay in quarantine for the 14 days that's needed or until you test negative. So that is part of the policy, that you must have travel insurance that covers COVID. It is the research that has been done. There's not all policies that have been offered have that in it, so that's why we are refining it to look at the different. We will have the ability from when the application is made, if you don't have a insurance policy that offers that, of guidance that you could get that type of policy for the trip. So thank you very much for those questions. I think that apologize for missing those in the talk.
So if a certain number, based on his question, the pre-screening will sort of like give you something, and there's a reason for that 3 5-day period before you travel.
Correct.
Based on the medical situation in terms of when if a person is infected, when it is likely to show up.
Right.
But if you do get a number of persons who turn out positive after that second test, you would have a facility whereby you would house them, or they would still remain in the same isolation that they were for the 5 days.
Correct.
Okay, got you. We're going to take a commercial break. We have another caller on hold. We will take that caller when we return. Folks, please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
You've spent a lot of time with your kitchen appliances lately. Did you realize just how old or out of date they really are? If you're thinking of upgrading or replacing your old kitchen appliances, there is only one place to go: Brand Source Home Gallery. They're having a 15% off sale on GE appliances this month. That's right, save 15% off on all GE appliances now through the end of July. You will love the savings and the look of your fresh new appliances from Brand Source Home Gallery in Industrial Park on Dorsey Drive. Call 623-5000 for more information.
Your Radio Cayman 7 a.m. news, brought to you by Cayman National, proudly serving the Cayman Islands since 1974. Visit www.caymannational.com for up-to-date information for all your financial needs and follow us on social media.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning the Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism, the Honorable Orrett Connor. We have a call, but before we go to the call, we had two WhatsApp. One person was curious to know whether or not, and if we made decisions in relation to U.S. travelers on a whole, like, for instance, the UK and some other European Union countries, have done, and what Bahamas have done now, whether or not we expect any repercussions from the United States in the age of Trump, whether or not we expect that. And the other question has to do with, in terms of the fee that is paid when the person is applying to travel to the Cayman Islands, and what that covers, whether or not those fees will be applicable to Caymanians as well.
Good questions. The first part of it is the gateway cities that we look at. Core market is North America in a very fluid situation, as the Bahamas have done last night. We're not in that situation today that we have to make a decision of where people will come from. And the reason we have said this is a phased opening is because we're not going to be in that position in August. We're not going to be in that position in September. And we're monitoring everything on a daily basis to see when it's going to be safe for us to look at core market and establish the protocols that we have put in place to allow them to come and us to be safe as a country and them to be safe as visitors. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So again, this is a balance, and this is a work in progress. And the reason I took the time this morning to try to go through how the framework and how the foundation has been established is in the same way that Premier, Governor has led, Minister of Health has led daily press briefings to explain how they were looked at, the tests. We're trying to do the same best practice with this to show how it's worth the wait for us to monitor the situation and make sure when we do open that we will not, unless something goes absolutely upside down in our gateway city, we will not have to backtrack. Right. And the second question?
In relation to the application fee to return to the Cayman Islands, and the built-in cost that's in there for the additional monitoring the FOB, whether or not Caymanians will have that fee will be applicable to them as well.
Right. That's still a decision that's being made right now, because it's not a fee that is there in any way to cover or to have a profit on it. It would be a fee for the cost of doing the test and the cost of the button itself or the monitoring device. So the committee will take input on that. We'll see where we are, and when we get to that, we'll see what we think the actual costs will be, and caucus cabinet will make that decision.
Okay, let's go to the caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning again, OC.
Good morning again, my dear.
And good morning, Mr. Connor. How are you?
Good, Jan. How are you?
I know you don't like to hear my voice.
No, I always like to hear your voice. You know that.
But anyhow, I was listening to the first party when you came on this morning. All that sounds so great and safe and nice. But it's after they get here and get loose a degree, they're going to feel like they're in prison and they're going to start ripping off and all that kind of good stuff. But anyhow, I want to leave it there. I just want to say that since we got so much time on our hand, the taxi drivers, is there any way you can see that we can house some pride workshops in the meantime, going so many people per day to get some workshops going, so we'll be fresh and good for the coming year of tourism? That's the one question. You don't have to answer, I can wait until I hang up, sir. Another one. I just want to thank you on behalf of the taxi drivers and all of the tour buses who have got this stipend from the government. Well appreciated, and you all, we really appreciate you guys looking out for us, knowing that we are ambassadors for the Cayman Island, and there's no work to a degree for us here at this present time. And I thought that was a very good gesture for you guys to come across and see that we are still surviving, and making sure that other people are surviving by using the NAU and whatever other means that they had to go through to continue to, put bread on the table and pay some bills. But I just want to say that the government has done a tremendously good job, and my hat off to Mr. Alden, and especially the governor. I have never seen a governor sit in a meeting as much as this man has sit, and I appreciate it, and I take my hat off to him. And I just want to say that he came to the Cayman to launch a place steel pan. So I'm asking him to bring you and Alden on, and many more, and lead that with us when he's leaving the Cayman Island, that he encourage and he help teach Mr. Alden, you and many more, the steel pan before he leaves this country. And if he has a chance of having another 4 years in the Cayman, I think you all should vote to get him back here to stay for another 4 years because of the job he has done for this country. I say he has Cayman at heart, and you all have done a tremendously good job. And thanks again on behalf of all taxi drivers, what you all have been doing for us and still do it.
Thank you very much. Very kind words this morning. The webinars and Pride program and other programs that are available, but I will speak to Director Ms. Rosa Harris right after the show and make sure that there are more programs available, and I'll also speak to Minister Hugh about some of the programs that he is offering through Commerce, and we'll get that out to you. So thank you very much again for the call. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, caller. Ms. Susan, why don't we take the break early? And if we take a break early, then we can go right straight through until 10 o'clock after that. Folks, please stay tuned. For the Record with Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism, the Honourable Moses Colonel, will continue shortly.
We all know there's nothing more refreshing than the taste of an ice-cold Coca-Cola straight from the cooler.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Whether it's celebrating a birthday, promotion, or just a great meal, make each moment a Coca-Cola moment.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling.
Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Make sure you ask for the unforgettable flavor of a classic Coca-Cola.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes, Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore. Seaboard.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. My pleasure to have in the studio with me this morning none other than the Deputy Premier and Minister for Tourism, the Honourable Moses Kekernel. Before I throw the mic back over to the Deputy Premier, we're going to close the phone lines off now because we want to give him an opportunity for some final comments. I want to give a big shout out to Customs and Border Control. Last Monday, we had the Director, Mr. Charles Clifford, and one of his deputies, Mr. Kevin Walton, in with us. I told him that I would give him feedback in relation to their services because I was expecting a package. I now have been able to confirm that the package is here. I did go on Saturday. Well, I shouldn't say me. I had my son do it, even though I am not that technically challenged that I couldn't do it myself. But, you know, he has to earn his way as well. And I had him assist me, went on to the customs website, registered, and yesterday, this was done on Saturday, so it goes to show you that those people are working on the weekends as well. Yesterday, I got a response, electronic response, confirming my registration on Coles and giving me my password and everything. So today now, I will be going over to Cayman Airways and getting my package, going over to customs, and we'll see how things go from there as well. While I have the Minister for Tourism here, I want to say also kudos to Cayman Airways. I understand in speaking to one of their representatives, they're talking about it. They have pointed out such a huge increase in the amount of cargo that they have been dealing with on a daily basis, an average of about 3,000 packages. They only average that during the Christmas time, and it is happening now. So Cayman Airways has had to really switch gears, as well, to accommodate the number of persons who want to get things into the Cayman Islands as quickly as possible, because of the fact that those persons would normally maybe travel on Cayman Airways and bring their cargo with them, but now it is being done. So kudos to Cayman Airways as well. But big shout out to Customs, and I'll let you know what happens after I go there today as well.
So that'll be tomorrow's report, Wednesday's report. So.
I think we have one more message, Minister, if I can share that with you. Says this person, why the permanent residents, tourism employees do not qualify for the $1,000, because this person said they applied. I did not get a positive response. My husband is a senior citizen and a Caymanian, so a permanent resident. Tourism workers who are permanent residents, do they qualify?
We've looked at everyone that sent in the application. Did they receive anything back from the tourism department?
I think if this is the same person who sent one earlier, they said that they got an initial response acknowledging receipt of their request, and since then they have been inquiring and have not been able to get to
have
know
their name?
whether or not. No, I don't have the name, but I think I have the number. They may be typing in some more information as well now.
Yeah, if they could just send you the name and number, I'll have somebody call them.
Okay. That person, if you're listening, send WhatsApp your name and number, and if there's anything else that you need to know, we need to know, fine. Go ahead, Minister.
Thank you.
Oh, one more thing also, and I think this needs... you've clarified it before, but it could probably be re-emphasized again. The person was talking about why are we going to the heart of where the COVID-19 situation, which is Florida, and why not operate the flights from other locations where the situation is not as high. But could you explain, our link to Florida, and using that as a gateway, and at this point in time, again, emphasizing the fact that we're not looking to open up the tourism market at this point in time. There's a targeted audience that you're going after, including the Caymanians returning as well.
No, absolutely. So their repatriation flights. Because we have Cayman Airways as a strategic tool, we are able to use Cayman Airways for these repatriation flights. The other regional small island nations will look to other airlines to provide a repatriation flight. Again, the same way that we've been successful with our air bridge to the United Kingdom, and give Governor and Matthew all the credit for that, because they've really worked hard on trying to establish getting that back and forth. But the approach to Miami is number one, the shortest way for us to get a gateway into that hub, so to speak, that distributes. Number two, it is the center of our medical off-island provider, and we have been taking citizens up and bringing citizens back, and it would really surprise you the number that have had to go back and forth. But that, again, is the center of excellence that was established by HSA, of where the majority of our healthcare that has to go off island is. And then the other part of the repatriation, when you go to Miami, Cayman Airways was able to, because of the long-term relationship, establish that their pilots could stay on board and not have to go through and get off the plane. If they had to do that, then obviously the quarantine would have been an issue of how many pilots did you really need to run these flights. And I think we've seen success with that. There is opportunity if there are other gateways that demand that number, because CAL is again, a government strategic tool. We can look at another gateway if there are groups that come and say they need to be repatriated to New York or that. So I hope that helps in answering the question. I want to also take the time to join voice with Mr. Connor as far as paying kudos to the pilots and the flight attendants and the front-facing staff at CAL, because for me, in looking at what they did for Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, to keep that connectivity there, pilots flying as we continued to try to manage the risk of COVID. The whole team at Cayman Airways really stepped up and has kept our three islands together. So I give them a big thanks this morning for that.
And as far as our ability to go to the BRAC, now we hope BRACers are looking forward to us coming.
Oh, we absolutely
I still
are.
have a biking trip that I have
yeah.
to need to make over there as well.
I was just going to say that I expect to see you on the bluff on that bike. BRAC is a very welcoming group of people, and especially getting their family home to visit, and then also coming home to look at some of their properties and be involved in the whole community. So, yeah, absolutely, we're looking forward to visiting more visitors and more returning residents. And, of course, whether it's North Side, East End, 7 Mile Beach staycations are always available, Cayman-Brac, Little Cayman, and it seems like people are really enjoying that. So, final comments?
Yes, sir. Still have about 5 minutes.
Oh, no, maybe there's another question. No more callers?
No more callers. We close the phone lines off at that point in time, so I'm just looking to see for any WhatsApp messages, as well. But you can go right ahead, sir.
I just want to take the opportunity to thank you for allowing me to come on this morning. I wanted to make sure that it is clearly understood that this is a managed process. We have done this extremely early in how we have announced the phased opening. We have taken the time to build a really strong foundation and team around reviewing all of the different things that need to be done, from the oversight, the protection, again, introducing 30% of our economy and understanding how we open it back up. Tremendous success in the way the government has approached not only the protection, but also the domestic economy, construction being back online, and we're pleased that we will use that foundation to move forward and continue to protect our visitors and our citizens.
Mm-hmm. And you did mention earlier that you didn't want to steal the Minister for Finance's thunder, but can you speak to the RFP that was sent out in relation to standby financing from financial institutions, possibly local if possible, if it is needed, and in any way speak to the government's financial position, as we stand now. Of course, this COVID-19 situation is fluid. We see a lot of jurisdictions now having to go back and redo some of the things that they've done because of mistakes that they have made along the way, which then extends the period of time, for their recovery. From a financial standpoint, where do we stand?
Yeah. Well, I'll start off by saying that one of the positives for Cayman is the financial industry. Minister Rivers guides the financial industry. They're working every day, and it continues to hold up. So that part of our income and that part of government revenue has been structured in a way that it continues to come in. So the shortfall is really a COVID-19 issue from gateways being closed and no international business traffic, so to speak, from a tourism aspect. So anytime you take that percentage of income out of your budget, you're going to have issues. The government continues to have reserves, continues to have money. Our budget is obviously not producing the surplus that we had projected, but Minister McTaggart and his team are working extremely hard to look at how we move projects up and down, how we prioritize. It's not business as usual, if I can capture it in that way. But again, it's a work that everybody's participating in on a daily basis. You had one more question. I think it was about the finances.
In terms of the standby financing that we.
So here's the thought process behind that. You have a business, and let's pick on one or two of them. So let's say you are a Stingray City boat operator, and because of social distancing, you used to be able to carry 50 people on your boat, but now you're only going to be able to carry 25 people. And at this point in time in your business, the borders are shut, so you're probably only going to get 10 people. you believe that you can adjust your prices, that you can work to where with an increased price and looking at some overheads, that you can put your business back into a position when the tourism market returns that you can continue. But you know, and we know, that if you are left alone for the next 12 months, your business will fail. So by using the ability to have a soft loan, let's say, the loan would be viewed and guaranteed by government for a certain percentage, kind of like what GGHAM is now, the government guaranteed housing program. We would hope to put you in a position that if you have a debt that needs to be paid off, you borrow enough to pay off your debt, and you start the repayment based on what your business will look like 1 year from now.
Okay.
And what we would hope that would do is protect some of the businesses that have been extremely successful, especially the boat operators, some of the tour taxi, but the tourism product itself, everyone that you touch is going through a difficult time, as Jan mentioned earlier. So that's the thought. Certainly I can't summarize it like the minister could, but he's working extremely hard on that, he and his team.
Okay. We'll close it off on a high note. This person has written and said, good morning, Minister Colonel. I would like to publicly say thanks to the government for the stellar job that they have done to keep this country in a good shape during the pandemic. Many people are giving them grief about closing the country, but I will say that was the best decision anyone could have made. Thanks also for the monetary assistance that has been given. It is very well appreciated. God bless. So I want to thank that writer. Minister, I want to thank you. Folks, I want to thank you as well for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles, as you traverse the roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, wherever that may be. I also want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. So I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates.
FIS MoneyGram, the safest and most convenient way to send money worldwide. MoneyGram, bringing you closer. Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery, inspiring luxury. And Fidelity Bank. Fidelity